Welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspires Show live here on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm excited. Not only am I wearing my Cowboys jersey and I'm dreaming that they're going to be in the Super Bowl, but I have an amazing guest here today that's going to definitely drop some value. This gentleman has actually helped mentor me and coach me and guide me, and he's been a huge asset in my life. And I'll tell you what, you want to get out your pen, you want to get out your papers, and you definitely want to take some notes today, because this gentleman is going to bring a lot of value, a lot of wisdom. And if you've been thinking about earning your first million, I'll tell you what, this guy, he's helped me get to where I'm at today. Let's welcome no longer due to the one and only Mr. J.V. Crum to the show. Let's give him a big round of applause. Woo woo!
Hey,
JV's a
Daniel,
man.
listen, a big applause for everybody who's listening today, because you know what? Showing up is so important. Do you know how many people, Daniel, just don't even show up in their own lives? I mean, it's sad. It's pitiful, right? When they could be making millions of dollars by changing who they are, instead, they're complaining. Do you know complainers never win? And if you're a complainer, you didn't even show up today because you'd go, oh, it's Sunday, it's the wrong day, or it's the wrong time. That's how they do it. But if you showed up, I already know you're the kind of person who wants to win and you want to go to your next level. That's the kind of people I like to talk to.
Well, JV, man, I'm pumped up. You know, we've been on my podcast before, but you really helped me along the way this past year. I've known you for over a year now since we launched our podcast, and you've helped us win the podcast of the year. But we had some conversations and you really challenged me so much. But then do me this, let's introduce yourself. I know the amazing person you are, but introduce yourself to the live audience of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, JV.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I'm JV Crum III, and maybe the reasons you might know about me is that I have one of the top podcasts in the world. We've had over 3,100 episodes, 8 years, millions of listeners, 190 countries, and we're 6 days a week. And people go, "Oh my God!" And I go, "Yeah," because I love talking to people. Because Daniel's been on my show as well. I love talking to people who want to change people's lives, and my passion. Really, my deep passion, Daniel, it's working with entrepreneurs who want to build a business that's heart-driven, that's purpose-driven, that takes their purpose, brings it into their vision and mission. They make a big impact they feel like they're on the planet to make, but they designed the business, and this is so critical, they designed the business so that it's going to make money because people want that offer that they have. But you know, it doesn't start out there. So many people today are getting, I just have to say, bad information. And it's easy to understand because it's easier to think, oh, yeah.
I got to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, bad information. I'm not bad-mouthing anybody in particular. I'm just saying the industry constantly tells people the wrong information. They tell them, if you just had the right funnel, or you just had this, or you set up the right landing page. And folks, I'm not saying you don't need all that, but that's not going to be what makes you rich. Here's what I discovered. Age 5, I was growing up in a poor family in a little country town with 200 to 300 people, and nobody had any money. How poor were we? Well, when I went to the grocery store with my mom, you know, she'd be like pulling me along. Before we got out of the car to go in the grocery store, she'd give me this little lecture. And she'd say, "Don't you ask for a candy bar." And why? Because she didn't want people thinking we were poor, because we couldn't afford the candy bar, for me to get a candy bar. So one day, like any little kid, I was sitting around, and you know, the great thing about being a kid is that I train adults to become kid-like again, because that's when they have the big dreams and that's when they believe. And I said to myself, well, what is the solution to this problem? My parents seem smart, but we're always broke, and I can't even get a candy bar. And Daniel, this is what I said to myself. I remember where I was standing that day when I did this. I said right out loud, I know, I'll become a millionaire when I grow up. Now, I don't even think I knew what $1 million was, but I'd seen them on television. I knew those millionaires were living in nicer homes and had a better car than we did, right?
Well, let me ask you this, JV. What is because you've helped me along the way. I mean, you expanded my capacity. You challenged me in so many ways. What are two main blocks that you see that when people just even have the idea of becoming this millionaire, being successful in business to the next level, what are the two biggest blocks that you've seen that they need to understand that it's not right? You can have the right, because this is what I believe. and this is what I've seen in my own life, in my own business, you can have the right landing page, you can have the right website, you can have the right everything, the right skill set. But if you have that poor man's DNA and you don't have that financial inner economy of success, abundance, and that limitless, like you teach, like you taught me, what happens? What gets in the way there?
Yeah, so that's just such a great question. And I'll focus on two of the most important ones that I unfortunately see over and over and over again. And I see it in 6-figure entrepreneurs. I see it in 7-figure entrepreneurs. And you'd go, well, no, they're on the road to success. Yes, but they're not where they want to be. And here's why. First of all, let's look at our belief system. Every belief you have, and you've got tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of beliefs, everything you say, there's a belief assumption underneath it. Like even if you say, you know, I just can't find the right team members, there's an assumption under that that goes over here in the scarcity world. And what we want to do is move every belief from scarcity to not just abundance, but limitless abundance, malleable abundance. Because here's the truth. Every belief you have is malleable. And we treat beliefs, all of us do, like they're somehow solid rocks. They're not. And so the one thing is to focus on moving beliefs, malleable beliefs, into the limitless abundance. And now you say, wow, you know, I have so many people applying. It's just a matter of me going through them and deciding which ones to have. So that starts with the belief level. Now, there are many levels to who you are inside, but let's stay focused on that belief level. And you asked for two things. This is one of the things. I was just doing a masterclass, and we're going to tell you about that masterclass today, First Million Masterclass. And here's one of the things I said to them. What good is it if I teach you how to make millions of dollars, but you won't receive it?
Oh, man.
Right?
Well, you know what? That hits home, because I'll tell you, this is the one mistake that I've seen that people understand when I do my business coaching is that we have levels of receiving. And for me, I could receive easily because for the longest time in the car business, I was $100,000 guy. But then when they challenged me to make $250,000 in the automotive industry,
yes.
it was a new level of receiving. And that's the mistake that most people don't make, is that there's different levels of receiving. Right. You hit that upper ceiling, you hit that glass ceiling, and then most people sabotage themselves, JV.
Well, you know, I talk about Elon Musk, and I share about Elon Musk and why he's so successful on the First Million Masterclass. I'll leave that for the masterclass, but I want to point out something. In 2019, I'm a futurist, and I looked at this decade that we're in. And first of all, I said, this is going to be a gold mine like we've never experienced. Look at the stock market, even during the pandemic. It's like hitting record after record after record. Now, I can't tell you Elon Musk's exact net worth because it changes every day. His stock goes up and down. You know, when you're at that level of wealth, I mean, you're at $150 billion. It might change 20 billion in a day, but it's just that day. Let's say Elon's worth about 150 billion. Do you know there isn't a single person on this planet who yet has reached the point of being a trillionaire? Not Warren Buffett, not Zuckerberg, you know, not Jeff Bezos, you know, none of those people have reached that. But in this decade, somebody will. So let's stay on Elon Musk because, you know, you go, oh my gosh, he couldn't possibly have mindset issues or identity issues. He's worth $150 billion, but he is not worth $1 trillion. And that's exactly what we're talking about. His mind right now is not programmed to be a trillionaire, or he'd already be there. He's not yet open to receiving that trillion, and he may not know that, you know, because he may not be focusing on that. But I can look from the outside and go, it's no different than if you're making 100,000 a year and you want to make $1 million, or you're at 150 billion and you may want to be a trillionaire. It's a process that I teach, and it's transformational. It's not about information. People keep thinking, oh, if I just read the right book, or I had this information, then I'd be able to do it. No, it's if you have this transformation, it's all about internal transformation, and what transforms inside appears outside. And that's the way it always is. I was that little poor kid at 5, and I made a commitment. Let's talk about that commitment. There are 3 levels, and the first level is interest. And I'm talking about people who get to the millionaire status. That's the people I work with, and then I do private work and masterminds with people who are 7 and 8 figures. Let's talk about getting to your first million. There are people who say, yeah, I'm interested in being rich. I have never once seen any one of them become a millionaire. So interest it's not where it's at. And then there's the next level. I want to get to this goal. Well, let's get honest with each other. Look at last year and start to list out all the goals you have. And I can bet you didn't even get 50% of them. In fact, I'd bet you didn't even get 25% of your goals. And why is that? Because wanting a goal gets into the belief of, oh, I'll try to get there. I'll work hard to get there. I'll put in effort to get there. But it doesn't work, not consistently. It doesn't work at high levels. Here's what works, and it's the only thing that works, and it's what I teach my private clients who pay me $50,000 or more to work with me. I go, you'd think you paid me $50,000, we'd have some goals, right? Nope, I don't allow those clients to have any goals. Can't have any goals. All they can have is results they're committed 100% to achieving, and that's how we talk about them.
Boom, baby. You're right, because listen, ladies and gentlemen, what JV's saying, this guy knows he's worth more and more millions than you can imagine. He's helped me. This is the one thing I think that I took away from our conversations, JV, is you can be interested, but being interested is not going to get you. You got to be committed. And this is what JV taught me, ladies and gentlemen, is it's interested, you're going to do what's easy. When you're interested, you're going to do what's easy, but to be committed.
And not only you're going to do what's easy, that's if you do anything at all. Right?
Yeah, but the commitment part is you do the things that you don't want to do, the things that are harder. You have to do the things that are hard.
Let's talk about one of the other things that this thing comes up. One is about money, right? And then like another big one is about losing weight. So that's one. Half the people have probably listening right now have probably at one point or a point, said, oh, no, I need to lose some weight, right? So if they're at that interested or want level, I bet you they didn't lose the weight. And I'm saying that to get in your face a little bit because I love you. And if I'm not, I believe in tough love. I believe in telling the truth, because why waste time just being nice to you and then you don't change? I'm on the planet, help people change. I want you to make your big impact in the world. And I want you to get rich changing the world. That's the outcome I want for you. So if you didn't lose the weight, I bet you were interested or you had a goal, but you weren't committed.
So you got right there somebody saying, I want my first million. So what can they do to get their first million?
Well, I'll tell you. I'm going to teach you about that at the First Million Masterclass. I want you to go and sign up. We've got a special link, consciousmillionaire.com/Gomez Inspires. Now, Gomez Inspires, and I'm going to teach you at the First Million Masterclass how you can make that first million and the exact changes. Now, listen to my words, not the changes you need to make, not the changes you might make, not the changes you're interested in making, and not the changes you want to make. The exact, precise changes you must make. But here's the fun part. If you make them, you are going to progress very rapidly towards your first million. And if you don't, you won't. Now, what's easy about this is I'm going to tell you exactly what you must change. And here's the second part. I know that you can because I've helped plenty of people do it, and I do it myself. Everything that I teach comes from what I've done. I don't go out and read other people's books. I tell you what I have found works, and commitment works, but you got to have the right commitments, and you must have the right changes. And when you make those, you are going to automatically, immediately start changing your sales, your profits, your impact. Anything that you want to accomplish, you can when you have the right formula. And I'm going to give you the success maximizer formula at the First Million Masterclass. But here's the thing. You can't be interested in coming. You can't want to come. You must go sign up at consciousmillionaire.com, Gomez Inspires, because you're committed to taking 90 minutes of your life to change the trajectory of your entire financial future. Because I like people to play big. I have no interest in little outcomes. They're boring. And here's the secret. And I know you know this, Daniel, because we've talked about it. Little outcomes are harder to achieve than big ones.
Yes. Yes.
Because you don't have the energy. You don't have the motivation. Your mind isn't curious about big outcomes. It's just little outcomes. It's boring. It's actually boring.
I think what people don't realize that it takes the same energy to have a little goal outcome or a little dream than it does to have a big dream. So if you're going to exert that energy, why not exert that energy in something that's bigger and better? And that's one thing that I've learned from you, JV, is the fact that when you really play, like we don't even think about it, but we don't expand our capacity to receive at higher levels. And ladies and gentlemen, what JV is talking about is it's the transformation of who you are. Many of us, we want our lives to change. We want our financial situation to change. We want our, right? Think about this. Over 90% of divorces in America are because people fight about money. Think about that. That means that their kids, think about how many kids' hearts are broken and just the families that are divided, that this impacts families. And if we don't listen to what JV's saying, ladies and gentlemen, when I really got a grasp with this, think about this. Over 90% of families are divorced because of money issues. When you fix the money issue and you learn to receive that it's okay to have money and you truly transform who you are into a new way of thinking, that's what JV has helped me so much to really elevate my mindset. And the results went from like we just doubled in 2020 and 2021 was because he helped me transform who I was.
And thank you, Daniel. And that's exactly right. And I'll ask you, is it really hard? Because people go, oh, I'm going to work harder. Working harder is not going to make you rich. You've got to do the right things.
Say that again. I want you to say that again because
working harder. 80 hours a week will not make you richer than 20 hours a week because you're probably doing so much of the wrong activities. You know, one of the things I tell people when they hire me, literally for 50 to 150,000 a year, is I go, okay, we're going to focus on the 10% that matters. Because one of the reasons you aren't getting the results you want is you are wasting. Now, these are people who are 7 and 8 figures, mind you. So you're going, oh, they've mastered it. No, they're wasting time too. I go, you're wasting so much time every day on the wrong things. No wonder you're not getting the results you want. We're going to change your mind so that the only things you focus on are the ones that are going to get those big outcomes that you just told me you want. Yes. And then we're going to make them commitments for you and your team so that you're all running in the same direction, committed to these outcomes. And I know I keep talking about commitment because it's one of the things that I switch on in someone's mind. It's like your mind must become committed. Because until you're committed, you are not going to achieve big outcomes. It's not going to happen.
Well, I can tell you that just from the work that we've done, it hasn't been easy. There's days that are frustrating. But I think what you're saying, right? When you show up, ladies and gentlemen, this is maybe a problem. JV earlier in this episode talked about receiving. Maybe you want to receive it, but you don't believe it for yourself. And something that JV really taught me that it's possible. It's so simple to say that it's possible for me. It's possible for you. I'm no better than you. I remember, JV, when I was a child growing up, and it was embedded in my head. We would run out of money, and there was still month, and we would eat cereal with water. I remember this, and I remember eating cereal with water, and I said, man, never do I want my kids to do this. And we have the power to change just that legacy, that lineage of our family, and just to see the success that how my kids are thinking differently and how they're thinking about net worth instead of trading, right? We've been lied to believe that just if you trade dollars for hours, that it's if you make $20 an hour, $30 an hour, it's a lot of money, and it's not. And I think the transformation comes when you really shift that with JV, because he's been just so crucial in the success that I've had. So I'm telling you, JV.
Well, and I think you just need to ask yourself some simple questions. You own a business. Do you want it to grow 10% over the next year? Or do you want it to grow 100 or 200%? Because that's the kind of outcomes that help people get. In fact, I'm known as being the expander of your identity multiplier. And that's what I'm an expert as. And so I literally help you multiply your identity. That's what I do with my high net worth individuals that I work with, because here's the kind of outcomes they want over the next 5 to 10 years, because we aren't just focused on the next 30 days. We're focused on, well, where they want to go in 5 to 10 years. These are the kind of people, and they're no better than you. They're just thinking different than you. It's not necessarily they have better skills. They're reprogramming their mind so that they can get a 10 times, 50 times, 100 times or more results than they're getting right now. That's the kind of questions they're asking. They're asking big results, and they realize they have to change inside, and then they change their strategies. That's the direction you do this. I work with mindset and strategies, but I never change strategies first. I go, if we work on your strategies, we're just going to get the same kind. We might have a different strategy, but it's not going to be at any higher level. We must upgrade you first, and then you'll get another level. You know, when you were saying that, Daniel,
let me ask you this: we have a common, right? Function on a high frequency. Yeah. I think so many people they interpret that wrong. They believe that you're gonna be on a high frequency one time, and it's really a deeper than just operating at a high frequency. Can you give us your perspective on that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I constantly work on what I call bringing in higher conscious principles. Now, what are higher conscious principles? Higher conscious principles, first of all, they're all positive. They're never negative. That's not higher conscious. And higher conscious is about all of us living on this planet, doing our part so that the humanity as a whole is rising up. That's a higher conscious principle. And then there are different principles applying to your business. For example, a higher conscious principle we've already talked about today, that you build your business based on that heartfelt purpose, the reason you believe you're on this planet. Now, I have a few high conscious principles that I like to give out all the time. One, I don't think there are any accidents. And what that means is whatever is showing up in your life, what you're attracting to you or not attracting to you, and what you're attracted to is exactly the frequency you're at. So how do you change that? You change it by shifting your mind about who you are, about what's possible for you. And all of a sudden, but you do it not from an ego basis. Now, this is important. It's not about you're going to become important. That's where most people who are coming from lower consciousness are thinking. It's about, how do I play my part that I'm on this planet to play? I believe there are no accidents. I believe you're here for a specific purpose. I help people identify that. And I believe that when you live that purpose, your life works at the highest level, that synchronicities start appearing for you, the right deals, the right people, the right opportunities start showing up, because you're living from that higher frequency, that higher conscious principle of purpose. And purpose, to me, is the basis for all great businesses.
Let me ask you this. Can you be living at a high frequency but not have the consciousness awareness that you need?
No, the two are the same. The two are the same. So it's like, can you build, let's contrast conventional business and conscious business, because that's the world I live in. And conventional's still where most people are living. Can you build a very profitable business from that perspective? Yes. But here's the biggest question. Will you, in doing that, be fulfilling your purpose? And will you, by just doing it only for the money? I can answer that question, by the way, because I had that experience at 25. I moved into the 4-story home, the Mercedes, because that little boy dream was to be rich. But I didn't have a little boy dream that I was actually going to change the world. That came 3 months after I moved into the house, and I felt miserable. Now, so you can get there, but you will not be happy. You will not be fulfilled, because happiness and fulfillment does not come from trying to fulfill my ego's lack of feeling of importance. And that's the difference between what we're talking about. When you're living with these higher frequency, higher conscious principles like living on purpose, uplifting humanity, creating a business that the product or service actually makes a positive impact on your clients and the world, and they're better off and the world is better off, that's when the magic happens. You're fulfilled, they're fulfilled, and the world is a better place. And as I use the phrase, you get rich changing the world. That's a higher conscious principle.
Yes, and I think one thing that I want the audience that I've learned from you that really helped me was just really when money truly allows you to have freedom. Money gives you confidence. When you realize that money gives you the confidence to help people, to help the homeless, to help the needy, to really go out there and be a contributor to your community, I think that's the one biggest joy that we found, JB. Just that we have this wrong idea that money is evil, and no, it's not. Money
No.
allows you to help people. Money gives you the confidence to go out there, and it gives you freedom. And I think people have never truly experienced that, so they can't comprehend with that. So as we're coming to the end of this special edition live, here's Super Bowl weekend.
Yep.
We got the one and only JB Crum. Man, give us a word of wisdom. And what's one huge takeaway? I'll give you the show solo. Give us one huge takeaway of wisdom that you want to give us as we're coming to the end of the show. And I'm going to put the link there to get your class. And if somebody's thinking, man, I'll tell you, you need to invest in who you're going to become. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in who Daniel Gomez inspires. That's why we're making the revenue, the money that we have, because we've made an investment. And I think the biggest misconception, JB, is that it's like a McDonald's. You go and you buy a McDonald's for $1 million, just a franchise. Even before you sell one burger, one fry, one Happy Meal, you've invested $1 million. And the mistake that I see so many young entrepreneurs making, even businesses, is they invest $3,000, $5,000 one time, and they think it's done, and that's not the way it works.
No, absolutely not. In fact, come to First Million Masterclass, and I will show you a slide where I've added up how much I've invested in myself, and it came to over $350,000. And I constantly invest. You know, I figured it out this last week. Over the last 18 months of, doing more things virtually, I have paid for and attended personally 15 virtual events, and most of them were several days long. And those were all investments in me. I just put them in that category. I don't call them a business expense. I mean, that's what you call them in taxes. But in reality, I go, I want to invest to get a transformation. And so here's the wisdom is ask yourself right now, do you want to get to that first million, and why? Why do you want to get there? My challenge for you today, it may sound like, oh, well, of course I want to get there. Great. But I want you to get crystal clear in your mind why it's not an option, why it's not an interest, why it's not a want, but why it's a commitment. So I want you to write down today, I'm committed to getting to my first million. Put a date, because I know there are a lot of people who think, oh, that'll take 10 years. Let me tell you, you can do it this year if you're committed. And that's absolutely a possibility. And then just write down a list. Why am I committed to getting to my first million on, and put down the date? Write down that list so that your mind is beginning to hear that you're committed. Because when your mind gets that you're committed, your mind's going to start looking for matches in the world that's going to fit that commitment. That's what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to give you the Success Maximizer formula, the exact formula that you can use to get to your first million at the First Million Masterclass. That's why I want you to come. It's absolutely free. It's 90 minutes, but you must commit the 90 minutes, because I want you to get everything that you can immediately start using to changing your sales, your profits, and the impact that you're making with your clients and humanity.
Yeah, we need to change those money filters.
Yep. And you can do it. Let's give them the link, consciousmillionaire.com/Gomez Inspires, because Daniel Gomez is inspiring the world. And I want to applaud you, Daniel, for what you're doing with your life and your commitment to make this huge difference in other people's lives.
Well, JB, thank you so much here for joining us on the special edition live here, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you, JB is a real deal. It's not about the money. It's about what you can do with the money. The money is just a tool that he's taught me that can really give me my wife, my kids, the family. And I think the biggest thing, I just spoke on stage here 2 weeks ago with John Maxwell in Atlanta. And
Oh,
as I broke down and cried, JB, they go, it's the money is great, but it's the fact that I was able to pay for my daughter's wedding and just give back to her and really do that without her having to stress about it. That's what the freedom that comes with this. So I encourage you to reach out, go register. It's free webinar. He's going to help you with that because he's helped me. And we'll put the comments, also the links below in the comments of these live broadcasts. But
and I want to thank you once again for showing up, because I don't think there's an accident. I think this is exactly the information you needed right now and exactly the opportunity, or you would not have been attracted to this moment in your life. And I believe that you belong at First Million Masterclass, or you wouldn't be listening to us.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for this week's episode. We'll see you here on our next live edition. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. Reach out to us if you need help. Reach out. We'd love to help you at our Shield to Faith coaching. Go to www.danielgomezglobal.com. That's danielgomezglobal.com. And we'll have the replay available here on our YouTube page. JB, man, have an amazing Super Bowl weekend, my friend. God bless you. I appreciate you. Have a blessed Sunday, everybody.